Tom, what a week it has been here in Washington. President Emmanuel Macron here on Monday, flattering President Trump, but also confronting him. The Prime Minister here yesterday, a charm offensive like none we have witnessed during Trump's second term. So much talk of the unprecedented historic nature of the King's letter, inviting the American president to make a second state visit to the UK. Today, it is Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky's turn to walk into the lion's den.
President Trump, what's your message to Vladimir Putin, sir?
President Trump met him at the main door to the White House, then escorted him to the Oval Office. And while we are only now receiving tape of the 45-minute encounter between them, we already know it went completely off the rails. The two men clashed multiple times. President Zelensky accused of being disrespectful to his host over whether the US is aligned with Russia or Ukraine. Trump faulting Zelensky for not thanking the American people for their support, telling him you're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You don't have the cards. You're buried there. Trump angrily accuses Zelensky of refusing to embrace a ceasefire. Trump claimed at the start of the meeting that the deal on American access to Ukraine's rare earths is about to be signed. But after the furious Oval Office clash, there may now be doubts about that. We expect to hear from both men after their talks and wait to see whether President Trump offers his guest any kind of tangible security guarantees in exchange for getting America's mitts on Ukraine's valuable minerals. On that issue yesterday, the Prime Minister made very little headway, oh so gently pushing back at Trump's dissembling over whether he will provide the American military backstop that Sir Keir Starmer is demanding in exchange for UK boots on the ground and planes in the air.
You know, I've always found about the British, they don't need much help. They can take care of themselves very well. You know what? No, it sounds like it's evasive, but it's not evasive. You know, the British have been incredible soldiers, incredible military, and they can take care of themselves. But if they need help, I'll always be with the British, okay? I'll always be with them. But they don't need help. You look at their career. You have done very well over the years, haven't you?
We have. I'm very proud of our country. But we've also always been there backing each other up between our two countries. That is why this is the greatest alliance for prosperity and security I think the world has ever seen. Whenever necessary, we've absolutely backed each other up, and that's at the core.
Could you take on Russia by yourselves?
Well...
Nervous laughter, or was it gallows humour? Either way, for all the Prime Minister's flattery yesterday, and there were bucket loads of it, President Trump appears to have offered nothing to suggest he is willing to provide the security guarantees absolutely crucial in any peace negotiation. He thinks you can negotiate peace first, then add security guarantees like a chef adding a bit of salt or pepper to a finished dish to adjust the seasoning. That is not the way peace agreements work, and it was notable yesterday that the Prime Minister, like Emmanuel Macron before him, was still getting the basic stuff covered, warning Trump not even to think about rewarding Russia for the war crimes it has perpetrated against Ukrainians.
You've created a moment of tremendous opportunity to reach a historic peace deal, a deal that I think would be celebrated in Ukraine and around the world. That is the prize. But we have to get it right, because it can't be peace that rewards the aggressor or that gives encouragement to regimes like Iran. We agree history must be on the side of the peacemaker, not the invader.
The mere fact that has to be said speaks volumes about the nature of the special relationship, a phrase that arguably should already have been consigned to the ash heap of bilateral cliches. There was so much more. Trump promising a trade deal with the UK, but whether that's a full free trade agreement or, as the Prime Minister put it, an economic deal is unclear. Certainly it's a step in the right direction, though, if it keeps the threat of American tariffs at bay. The Prime Minister chiding J.D. Vance in person, face-to-face in the Oval Office, as the Vice President again repeated his spurious claim that free speech is at risk in Britain. This in a week when the Trump administration boosted the role far-right Trump propaganda outlets get to play, covering events in the Oval Office. And then there was the realisation at the very end of yesterday's press conference that a cute English accent can still get you a long way in America.
We look forward to welcome you in the United Kingdom. Thank you once again.
Thank you very much. What a beautiful accent. I would have been president 20 years ago if I had that accent.
Good news for all those of us here who still trade off hours. The president did not sandbag the Prime Minister yesterday by thrusting Elon Musk into the mix, but America's de facto Prime Minister had another very busy week.
The overall goal here with the Doge team is to help address the enormous deficit. We simply cannot sustain as a country $2 trillion deficits.
There he was at the president's first cabinet meeting on Wednesday, even though he is not a member of the cabinet. He was the only official granted much of a speaking role by the president, insisting that with every federal worker he throws on the scrap heap, every single fired civil servant whose family now wonders how they're going to make ends meet, he is acting in the best interests of the nation.
It's not an optional thing, it is an essential thing. That's the reason I'm here, and taking a lot of flack, and getting a lot of death threats, by the way. I mean, I'd like to stack them up, you know.
If there did not seem much sympathy for him around the table, it's because he is facing growing opposition from real cabinet members who want to make their own decisions about staffing levels and budgets, and not have them decided by a businessman who is lining his pockets as he engages in state capture, fires the regulators overseeing his industries, and this week darkly warned that the safety of air traffic control in America is absolutely dire. But quite by chance, his own internet company Starlink is coming to the rescue. There was one positively North Korean moment at the made-for-TV cabinet gathering when this question was posed to Mr. Musk.
President Trump put out a Truth Social today saying that everybody in the cabinet was happy with you. I just wondered if you had heard otherwise.
Hey, let the cabinet speak just for a second. Is anybody unhappy with Elon? If you are, well, throw him out of here.
Very reminiscent of Spitting Image portraying Margaret Thatcher's cabinet as the vegetables. As Musk's reign of terror continues, the State Department is next on his chopping block. Various US judges tried to slow his onslaught, but most rulings are simply being ignored. Jeff Bezos, owner of The Washington Post, decreed that going forward, its editorial page will only present positive articles about personal liberties and free markets. Code for turning the newspaper that uncovered Watergate into a pliant Trump mouthpiece. Today, members of the public are being asked to join a 24-hour boycott of businesses operated by Bezos, Musk, and the other corporate titans bending the knee to America's leader, an authoritarian who earlier this week posted a simply shameful video on his social media platform depicting what Gaza might look like after Trump plants the stars and stripes there.
To set you free, bringing the light for all to see. No more tunnels, no more fear. Gaza is finally here.
The video features golden statues of Trump, images of Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu enjoying cocktails on the beach, bearded belly dancers, cash raining down on Trump and Elon Musk, and of course barely a Palestinian in sight.
Trump Gaza, #1.
Is this really the bloke we want to get especially close to? Let's see how that plays out. The US lost two legends this week. Gene Hackman, found dead alongside his wife and dog in Santa Fe yesterday. The circumstances still under investigation. He was 95. If you've never watched The French Connection, you now have homework for the weekend. The US also lost the singer-songwriter Roberta Flack at the age of 88.
Slaughterhouse is killing hogs. Twisted children are killing frogs.
You thought I was going to play Killing Me Softly, but as I went through her back catalogue, this track, compared to what, released in 1969, seemed more apposite. It is a song of fury and protest, featured in Roberta Flack's debut album, critical of President Lyndon Johnson, his expansion of the Vietnam War, and generally deeply concerned about the state of the country. It is still totally relevant today.
Said the president, he's got his war. Folks don't know just what it's for. No one gives us rhyme or reason. If you have one doubt, they call it treason.
Roberta Flack died of cardiac arrest this week, brought on by ALS. Even though that song was recorded 56 years ago, Tom, she's still got a lot to say about the state of Trump's America.
But compared to what? trying to duck the wrath of God.